A to the K.
A to the K.
A to the K. Hello, welcome to the A2theK Wrestling Show. We are your hosts, Carl and Anthony, and as always, let's kick things off by throwing it over to Wrld for A2theK's little known fact of the week.
Oh, you didn't know?
That's right. Royal Rumble, fast approaching, as we know, just mere days away now, Anthony. And, you know, Rumble time is our favourite time. Yes, it is. So yours especially. I'm always a bit like this over Mania and Rumble, you know, but they're both boss.
You can't deny Mania is awesome. And
yes, it's true.
But the Rumble is the superior pay-per-view.
It certainly is. It certainly is. I think I agree with you now, especially now they've moved it over 2 nights. But anyway, as we know, over the years at the Royal Rumble, someone who has seen his fair share of Royal Rumble matches is none other than the 7-foot-tall, 500-pound Big Show, Paul White, of course. But Anthony, did you know, despite commentary having you believe every single time he enters a Royal Rumble, you know, how can anyone get Big Show over the top rope? He's only, you know, 500 pounds. Well, he's actually the only 500 pounder that's never been eliminated by a group of people. In all 12 of his Rumble appearances, he was eliminated by just a single person. So basically, the answer to that long-standing question on commentary of how is it possible to eliminate Big Show? Well, the answer is, you know, pretty easy actually.
Very fucking easy, yeah.
Very easy. So yeah. I just thought that was a hilarious stat. He's been in 12. Every time he comes down, it's, you know, especially like King and stuff back in the day.
I would have genuinely believed that they did that typical spot of like a load of people trying to lift him. Usually people who are a little bit smaller, so it looks worse. So you get like Kofi and Rey Mysterio trying to lift him and stuff. And, you know, I would have totally believed that. So to find out that that's not true is insane.
Madness. See, fun and educational as always. So we'll throw you back over to Road Dag. We'll throw you back over to Road Dogg to sing us out of the segment.
Oh, you didn't know?
Beautiful. So, Anthony, let's kick things off. We're talking This Week in Wrestling. And I believe it's over to your good self for the first highlight this week from WWE.
It is, Carl. And I'm happy to say, welcome back to Damian Priest in the highlights. Although, in all fairness, most of this highlights is more... It's the match, right? Kevin Owens versus Damian Priest was a really good match, right? Mm-hmm. But personally, that was mostly down to KO. But let's face it, we're putting Priest in matches with Kevin Owens, who I think we both agree deserves a lot of respect in this business. And in all fairness, this is one of them things where he played his part really well, and he does feel like he is like... I don't put it. It's not like he's slumming it with the US title, but he is that sort of tier above. It's someone that Priest should be sort of trying to face. Do you know what I mean? Mm. And it was good to see the respect on his name. It was good to see the old school heel tactics coming out from Owens there. And honestly, yeah, just I totally enjoyed it. I think it was played really well between the two. The only probably downside is this whole, and we've mentioned it many a week now.
Countless weeks.
This whole Priest Damian sort of duality thing they've got going on. Like, obviously they'll play this off as the Priest side, but I don't know. I'm not digging where they're trying to go with Damian Priest as a character, but at the same time, I can't argue that this was a good match, and I hope that they keep up with this kind of stuff and maybe refine the character a bit. I don't know what you can do. I don't really like the idea of what they're doing. They should have just stuck with the whole Archer of Infamy thing, which wasn't too bad.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, it's, you know, the point you made of finally he's back in the highlights section. It's where he belongs. You know, Damian Priest. I think he could be a bona fide main event star. But they just need to stop trying to ruin him, especially with this stupid gimmick. And I think you've hit the nail on the head with, you know, obviously Kevin Owens, fantastic at what he does and playing the little chicken chick heel and, you know, managing to, you know, pull the wool over his eyes and get the win is exactly the kind of thing Kevin Owens does best. But yeah, the fact that Damian Priest hesitated and was like, oh, is he okay? Like, you just know it's like, well, if it was the Damian side, that wouldn't have happened. And it's just going to be like, I'm so sick of it.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
And again, it's not like the gimmick is something that can't work. We've seen this kind of thing before. It just doesn't work for him. Yeah, it's not working, and we just need to drop it. And I think for me, it's kind of jarring when it's so sudden as well. Like he's suddenly like this, and you're like, okay, like any reason, any any absence, and he's come back with a different character. It's literally just, well, this week we're going to do this and see how it pans out.
No, that's it. Like,
okay.
literally weeks ago, he was just a cool guy, slumming it with, Bad Bunny, just like real chill and all that in a jacuzzi and, all these things. And then now he's like, I'm angry. No, I'm angry again. It's like,
Unless we just never saw that bit, but he really freaked the girls out in the hot tub.
yeah, they just didn't. They couldn't show that footage, unfortunately. But yeah, no, all negativities aside, yeah, I definitely agree. Highlight this week, strong match from both of them, and nice to see Kevin Owens being represented as a level above the US title. Yeah. So obviously, does that mean
he's getting? I don't think it'd be. I think it'll be a good while before we see him in a main event title picture again. But it's nice to know that they still class him as a main event star, and I feel like this kind of highlighted that.
Yeah, and fingers crossed. Who knows what's going to happen after the Rumble? We'll be talking about that in a little bit, won't we? But
we certainly will.
Yeah, definitely a highlight. This next highlight, Anthony. Keen to get your thoughts on it because I don't know whether how you'd feel, but I'm loving the work that Alpha Academy have been doing. I was made up the fact they won the tag titles. Now, this is the kind of segment that would normally be like, oh God, fast forward over it. But I genuinely didn't mind this at all as far as like non-segments, non-wrestling segments go. I think, it's nice to see them not only getting some, well-deserved screen time, but not just in matches. So this was a chance for them to actually show a bit of character work. Now, we know Otis has done this in the past, but for me, Gable's been the standout. Obviously, he's had the shorty, G stuff in the past and things like that, but I thought he was fantastic in this, and I liked the way the pair played off each other and the good foils for RK Bro. So all in all, I actually, as silly as it was, I didn't mind it.
No, I agree. I think this might be a bit, how do I put it, not hypocritical, but I think this kind of thing on other people could be one of them things that you're like, this is cringy and shit. I think what really helps is that both sides of this, both RK Bro and Alpha Academy, are just really likable guys. And so you don't mind the sort of the goofier side of things because you're sort of there with it, you're chuckling with it, you're enjoying them as characters because they play off each other so well. And yeah, I think you're totally right. I think Gable actually is shining a lot here, which is awesome. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of Otis, but I get why people were a fan of Otis. You know what I mean? And obviously he's a bit of a different character than he was in Heavy Machinery, but even so, I'm still not overly taken on him as a character. But I've been loving the Alpha Academy stuff anyway. I think they've been a really good tag team so far. So yeah, I would agree with you. I can't really complain about a segment that you're going to class it as like the best things happen on, I want to say, Raw in a long time. No, but it was, like you say, it was a good fun segment, and not everything every week isn't going to be matches for them, is it? They need to have these sort of like, what's the word? Story, like not even storyline, character work,
Yeah, I mean, by all accounts, they can still mess this right up. I think this is now going to turn into a little bit of a competition that happens on a weekly basis now to see who's better, Alpha Academy or RK Bro, intelligence-based things and stuff.
Well, here's the thing, right? Here's a good example for you. This is not a great deal different than the Viking Raiders stuff they were doing with
Street Profits
in terms of competition stuff. And this is where, and I'm not having a go, you might recall I enjoyed the Viking Raider stuff and you really didn't, and this is where I think the example shines that it a lot of the time it's down to the wrestlers themselves.
Yeah.
And these guys are a lot more fun and likable and enjoyable, and therefore we're enjoying this sort of stuff more.
Yeah, I think the big caveat is for now as well. Like, I think the first time we saw them segments, I wasn't that bothered, but after like the 10th one, I was like, oh my God, can we not have another one? Exactly. So we'll see. Fair. We'll see how the WWE it, you know what I mean? But yeah, let's see. But this week, highlight.
Damn right. So, next one, Carl, and this is a little bit of both, if I'm honest with you, but mostly a highlight, and this is Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets a highlight for me because in actual fact it was a really good match, really good battle until the finish, and this is where I'm not too sure, because obviously it was never going to be a clean ending, because they kind of need to protect both guys here, so it was never going to be a straightforward one over the other. But the slight oh shite here, and the bit that pisses me off is like, what the hair business again? Like, are we really going to have that? Like, are they together or not anymore? Like, this is just taking the piss now.
Well, exactly. I legit don't understand it, and it was like obviously Bobby's trying to brush them off and saying that they're not part of it. Then they come down, and then they try and turn on Bobby. So then it's almost like the Hurt Business are going after Bobby, but then the Usos are going after Seth, and it's all just like, why are the Usos there? They're on spot. It's just the whole thing was just a bit of a overbooked, if you will.
To be honest, that's probably the right thing. It's overbooked, but I still think, personally for me, I don't know how you feel about it, but Bobby he's definitely got something. He definitely deserves to be in the title scene, but he still needs the Hair Business. He still needs to be part of that faction. I don't think he does well on his own at the minute. So the fact that he is trying to sort of dismiss it, and we're like looking at the Hair Business breaking up again, like we already had this and it didn't work. Let's not do it again.
I mean, I think we were both devastated when the Hair Business did break up, because it just felt like it was out of nowhere and it was doing, the world of good for Bobby. So, for them now to be going after this again, still not making it a thing, I don't know. But, the match itself up until the ending, I agree, was a really good contest. But, as you said, there was no way, like, when they booked this, it was like, well, no one's going to go over because they're both going up against the respective champs on each of the shows. So,
it was always going to be a bit of a non-match in that sense, really.
Yeah, but I thought what we saw of it was good between them. But enough for a highlight, I would say. The goods outweighed the bads. And so the final one to talk about highlight-wise this week, moving over to SmackDown. Again, Seth Rollins involved in this. So the main event, right? Again, I'm keen to get your thoughts, because maybe I'm giving them too much credit for this, right? So the whole thing was around if Seth Rollins wins a SmackDown. I can't remember who the fuck he was teamed with now. Oh, it was Kevin Owens, wasn't it? If Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens beat the Usos, then the Usos are barred from ringside, basically, at the Royal Rumble. And then, so I'm looking at this, and I could just be giving them way too much credit, but obviously the match was won by, for Seth, because Roman got involved and caused the DQ. Now, I'm hoping he wasn't just stupid enough to do that. It seemed to me, and this is my rationale behind it, is that it's kind of, he knows either way he wasn't going to have the Usos there because they were about to lose the match, but he is such a sore loser that he didn't want the bloodline to take a loss. So, actually be pinned. And so he thought, well, they're going to lose anyway, so I'll basically just use my opportunity to punch him in the face. But am I giving them too much credit? Did it? Do you think Roman came out of this looking like an idiot for getting disqualified, or?
Honestly, I never thought about it, but what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Because I was a little bit like that. Well, that was stupid. But at the same time, you go, well, if you can clearly see they were going to lose, and that was clearly the case, then, like you say, you might as well have took the opportunity, because, they're not going to be at ringside either way, are they? So you might as well. And they don't come out looking strong, but they didn't officially take a loss, which is he's been seen since being the tribal chief. He's been seen to be very prideful in that sense and very selfish in that sense. So we'd sooner do something like that than, like you say, than the bloodline look weak. So that makes a lot of sense. But I'll admit to you now, I didn't really think about that until you pointed out to me.
Well, that's what I mean. If that wasn't the intended rationale behind it, then maybe it's not even a highlight. You know what I mean? Maybe it's actually a complete oh shite because it's made him look like an idiot. But I think
it deserves to be a highlight. But I think the only criticism I would give it is that I don't think it was obvious enough, because we're debating whether it was deliberate.
Yeah, no, you're right. Even the way Roman walked up the entrance ramp afterwards as well, and the camera's looking at him, he kind of looked almost like, I just couldn't gauge what they were going for. Was it a look of like, oh, I can't believe I've just gotten disqualified, or was it a look of like, I don't need them anyway, I'm going to beat them on my own kind of thing? But
it was actually he really needed the bathroom.
It could have been that. But yeah, so I would say definite highlights, all things considered, as long as that was the thing they were going for, which I think it was. So yeah, want to move over to the Oh Shites for WWE this week, Anthony?
Yeah, okay. So Rhea Ripley going up against Nikki Ash. I still okay. So we had Zelina and Carmella coming out and just chatting shit. The whole thing was ultimately sort of a non-event, and we had Nikki attacking Rhea. But I think we've mentioned this before, Carl. I'm confident we mentioned this before. it just doesn't work with the superhero thing.
No, you were right. The stupid hero thing.
The stupid like, I'm all for, like, she wanted to do this gimmick and she wanted to give it a chance, and I'm all for it, but it does not. If you're gonna suddenly turn heel, it doesn't work.
No. Yeah, I'm not really sure what it is that they're going for with it. Do you know what I mean? We know, and we spoke last time about this. Nikki Cross can be a fantastic heel, but doing it while still being a happy, smiley superhero doesn't really work.
Here's my weird example, right? You've never seen the Hurricane as a heel. Correct me if I'm wrong, if anyone's seen it on the indies or in some other promotion. In WWE, when he turned heel, he pulled away from the superhero gimmick because it didn't work as a heel.
Yeah.
And then he became like Shane Helms wearing a skull cap, I believe. That didn't feel right. What are they called? You know, the hood, the beanie, but it's like... Yeah, anyway.
I'm going to go with a beanie.
Anyway, started wearing a hat and had a beard. So, yeah, and for me, I'm just like, this is a similar thing where the sort of the goofiness, and I'm not trying to be insulting of it, but the whole thing's meant to be a bit goofy, isn't it? The goofiness of the superhero gimmick just really takes away from the heel work. So it's like, I don't know how I'm meant to feel about this.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how to feel about the whole thing, if I'm honest. Yeah, I mean, add into the mix the fact that Carmella and Zelina Vega were just there for no reason again. You've already spoken about the fact they haven't got a tag division, so now that they're splitting these two up anyway, like, why are they still involved in it? Like, none of it really makes any sense. So yeah, just a waste of time, I would say. So the next one I want to talk to you about, speaking of waste of time, is we got the highly anticipated match, Omos versus Reggie. What did this really do for either of them, to be honest? Because you've got Reggie, who will have his fans. I'm certainly not one of them, but he'll have his fans, and this is basically just him getting absolutely obliterated. Cool. But then didn't do anything for Omos, because obviously he was meant to obliterate Reggie. So it's like, well, okay. Like, and, you know, again, why have, like, the segments and stuff leading up to this with Dana and, you know, Omos looking all threatening and stuff? It's like, yeah, just a non-entity again. It was like, well, duh. That's my whole thing encapsulated. Duh. So yeah,
that's fair.
Oh shite from me.
Next one, Carl. For me, Rey Mysterio eliminating Dominic.
Would be Ray, wouldn't it? Would be Ray.
Would be fucking Ray, wouldn't it? And again, like, I don't. Can I moan about this? Really, is this just taking it somewhere obvious?
I mean,
I think we always knew they were going to do sort of father-son thing, and this is just the start, I suppose, isn't it? But
yeah, it was just, for me, this was almost as bad as, like, the before a ladder match. You know, they all get up there and climb the ladders and look at each other, and it's like, ooh. Which ironically, I'm actually gonna give credit to for AEW later, so I just sound like a bad fanboy. But you know,
because we've got people now like, oh, is it, you know, oh, what's gonna happen? And it's like, well, are they just throwing red herring out there, or are we gonna, like? Because I think they probably are gonna lead to I actually was all for a father versus something. I thought it was a good way of. I think you've mentioned it. Actually, I don't want to take credit. Way back when, and it didn't have to be straight away, but at a point that Dominic would earn his mask essentially by having a match with his father and winning. And I mean, hopefully we can get. I wouldn't mind the payoff of them two having a match together, but I think this is a little bit. For me, this is a bit of a red herring. They're trying to make it look like ooh, and it's like, no, nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, it was just, you know what I mean, like. This has started happening now more and more before Royal Rumbles. It's like, you know, I think it's your example, you know, ladder matches where it's like, let's prove I can climb a ladder. Like, it's not proving that they can actually get a briefcase or not. And it's like, let's prove I can climb a ladder. And this is exactly the same. It happened with Johnny Knoxville, you know, throwing out Sami Zayn. It's now happened with Rey Mysterio throwing out Dominic. It's like, see, I can throw people over a rope. And it's like, yeah, but
that's the really not the match. It's like, did you think anyone in the audience was thinking you couldn't throw people over ropes? Like,
well, exactly.
Like, are we all there? Like, oh, he can. It just doesn't work like that.
So yeah, I mean, and it's just the whole way. Like, he was like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like a bad dad joke almost, wasn't it? It's like, see, son, I can still beat you up. I can still go. And it was like, okay.
This isn't even like, but this is the thing. Like, if you'd never, Dominic's still so green that he doesn't really pose a threat to Ray. Like, to me, the opposite would have been more effective.
Well, without giving too much away, obviously we do our prediction series on Instagram, and obviously we've asked our followers to put their predictions in on who's going to win the Rumble. There's been a couple of Dominic shouts. So,
well, if he wins the Rumble, right, I'm going to be so pissed off, right? However, if he goes in the Rumble and eliminates his dad, I'll forgive this right now.
well, I mean, there's also been a couple of Ray shouts in there as well, and we know how you felt last time. So,
Ray doesn't. He doesn't need. No, look, I don't care. People will come at me for this one, right? He's not a heavyweight. He doesn't. He shouldn't. He wouldn't look right against Roman or Brock.
Yeah.
Forgot for a second. I'm like,
Yeah.
Bobby? It's not Bobby. It just wouldn't work against either. Like,
No.
and I don't care what people say. It didn't look right when he was up against Batista.
No, it didn't. I do agree with you. To be fair, like he's deserving of being a world champion, but like I think when he's going up against the likes of like when your main champions are monsters like that, and I get the whole kind of opposites match. It's like, oh, how's the underdog going to overcome the? But yeah.
But this is the thing I hate about Rey Mysterio in that scene, because they constantly do the whole David and Goliath thing. It's like, how will he do it? It's like same way he always fucking does it. He does the flippity dips and then he eventually wins.
Like, because he's 5'4", even if he goes up against just like a 6 foot guy who isn't even that big, it's still a David and Goliath moment, isn't it? So
I just love, like, we didn't get him when AJ Styles was champion. We didn't see Rey. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I would have loved an actual competitive match between them two without this whole constant, like, oh, look at the size of Brock compared to, and all that, like, because that's all the commentary will do. Like, I don't want Rey in there right now, you know?
Yeah.
Like you say, he's a world champion, I'll give him that, but right now, going up against monsters like them two, it just doesn't feel realistic. And yes, I know it's wrestling, but it's that cheesy fucking constant David and Goliath thing that they'll do. And they will do it, they can't resist.
I know.
So, yeah.
But yeah, hopefully neither of them are winning. Hopefully this is just a little bit of fun. I mean, if it is going to set up something down the line between these two, maybe. But I just thought the whole thing was a bit like, it's like I just thought of that ladder thing. I was just like, oh yeah, look, I can throw people over the rope. It's like
I love that. The ladder thing is just so stupid. It does tickle me every time.
Yeah.
Like, the minute there's a Money in the Bank, everyone's just getting the ladders out on normal shows. It's like, okay, sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely agree. This was an Oh Shite. Almost becoming a weekly Oh Shite at this point. I feel almost bad almost referencing it these days, but just Madcap. So obviously this week we got Madcap versus Kofi Kingston with Big E from Raw, who was there for no reason because brand splits aren't a thing now. I get Woods is out injured, but what's the point of a fucking draft split if people from the other show just rock up all the time, like just constantly?
Well, they kind of had to do that because the draft split's getting less and less relevant now. They're just losing wrestlers left and right.
Well, exactly. I mean, I'm still in favour for them getting rid of it now, but I can't see it happening. But yeah, so I don't know, just that whole thing kind of annoyed me a little bit. Obviously, we had the Usos on Raw, we've now got Big E on SmackDown, we have Seth jumping between shows all the time as well, so it's just kind of like, what's the point in it? But yeah, so, I don't know, interestingly as well, so this would indicate Big E sliding back down the card a bit, getting the Drew McIntyre treatment almost of, well, he's been a world champion, so what do we do next? I don't know, put him with Baron Corbin. That'll work. That tends to be what happens.
I hate to say it, I don't want to be, what's the word? Cynical, but Big E feels like a box ticking exercise for WWE now.
Well,
people wanted it, we did it. You've had your moment, off you pop. Don't think you were interested in him as champ.
We're going to get into this when we do the Rumble predictions, because I think I'm going to shock you. So we'll see. But yeah, so all in all, that segment, it sucked. On to the next.
Okay, so similar to your last one, Carl, I feel like we mention this quite often these days. Well, my next one, Naomi versus Charlotte with Sonya as special ref.
Of course.
So this feud's been running for 5 months now, as it turns out. 5 fucking months. And has to be an Oh Shite. And can it just fuck off now?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Can we just stop with it? Can it be done?
It would be nice. Like this week, they fucking brought, Adam Pearce and Bischoff and everything all into this feud. It's like, really? Just have a match and get it over with, Jesus. Like, why are you dragging it out? If this is going to make it to Mania as the match, you know what I mean? Like, seriously? Is this going to be a Mania match? Like, wow.
If this ends up being a Mania match, I know they've got 2 nights to fill. This better be a pre-show.
Yeah. I mean,
this is anything other than a pre-show that I'm not going to bother watching. I'm going to be so pissed off.
yeah, and it's just it's not even like a disrespect to either of them. It's just the fact that it's been going on so long. It doesn't, but the build-up's been shocking. So it's like it doesn't deserve to be anything more. It should
No,
just
and
be a
like you say,
throwaway
it's no
match.
disrespect to either of them. This is actually a good example that two people who are super talented can be in a shit feud.
Yeah, which exactly is what this is.
Exactly.
So yeah, speaking of shit things, Anthony, we got the second installment of Insane this week. Only this time Johnny Knoxville was in attendance, and basically Sami Zayn thought he was going to emulate his Jackass heroes, I'm guessing, even though he seems to hate Johnny Knoxville, so I don't know why he's doing it, by electrocuting himself with like cattle prods and stuff. And then Knoxville came down and was like, nah, he didn't turn it on, and then shocked him.
Wait, but I thought WWE didn't go for this sort of
grotesque. Well, exactly, yeah. But yeah, that's and
they
again,
surely wouldn't simulate being electrocuted with a cattle prod for the entertainment of children.
Yeah, and
that
again,
wouldn't
though,
be something they'd do.
He had to prove it again. So this is the second time after he shocked him with a cattle prod. He then was able to throw him over the top rope. Anthony, he can do it.
He can throw people over. One thing I thought to myself, like Johnny Knoxville's done some crazy stuff, but can he throw people over ropes? Probably not.
And he's proved it now. Not once. It wasn't just a fluke. He's done it twice, Anthony.
That means he'll probably be able to eliminate like 2 people at least.
I mean, he's probably winning the Rumble now.
I don't know what his rope throwing limit is, but we know that he can at least throw 2 people out now.
Well, exactly.
That's crazy.
So yeah, he showed me more than anyone else. So he's my favourite to win it now, I think.
I honestly think he could probably throw Big Show over the top rope.
Nah, that's impossible. No single person can do that.
What, a 500-pound, 7-foot tall man? Nah, I reckon he could do it.
Yeah.
I look forward to next week's Insane when he staples his nutsack.
Well, in fact, no. I was going to say, hopefully it's all done now because the Rumble's this week, but we've still got a SmackDown to go, haven't we? Jeez,
We've got one more SmackDown to go, and that's gonna be the payoff one. That's gonna be one of the more grim things. So he's gonna staple his nutsack, I reckon.
Okay.
Just like his heroes.
You heard it here first. So yeah, firmly an Oh Shite.
Yeah, it's such a shame, and it like basically they've paired him with Knoxville, so that's him now. He's doing the comic stuff, isn't he?
Yeah. And
he's just going to get eliminated. Is he even in the Rumble, Sammy? Got to be, any.
Yeah, he is in the Rumble.
Yeah, so he's going to get eliminated by Johnny, and that's going to be something that happens.
Well, exactly. They've been building to it for weeks now, so that's pretty much what's going to happen.
Shame, but I feel like the conspiracy stuff never really paid off, and I was hoping it would.
No, I'm worried for him now that he's.
I
was going to say I'm worried for him now. He's now fallen into like was it Heath Slater or something? It just basically became the guy who was constantly just working with the celebrities and the legends, just getting owned every week, and then that didn't end up too well, working out for him. So,
yeah, I think you're right. But no, I think they missed an opportunity with the paranoia and the everything being rigged against him. I really wanted that to sort of pay off, where Adam Pearce actually did have it in for him, and he wasn't even crazy with the conspiracy theory. It was true. It was all true. And it could have culminated in a match between him and Pearce. I would have been there for that.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
he definitely could have done something with it, and it would have been funny because he was finally right all along, and the fans had still shit on him, so it would have been even.
Yeah,
better.
I'm confident he probably did have some sort of plan for it at some point, and then just went,
standard.
Fuck it. Standard. So Carl, were you a WCW fan back in the day?
A little bit.
Yeah, well, I hope you were, because we had not just Jeff Jarrett, but we had Bischoff as well. 2 guys who obviously needed a payday. Bit of a WCW reunion thing going on. And why is it in the Oh Shites? Because it did it feel organic? Did it feel like it should happen? No, not really.
No, like literally, why were either of these 2 guys here? Right, I've been vocal about this before.
Because he burnt his bridges with AEW because he decided to go on a full fucking rant the other month.
Like
Jarrett, I don't know.
Yeah, I've been vocal before about Jarrett. I've never been a massive fan of him, and I feel like he goes away for ages and then comes back and tries to, get a payday somehow, whether it's starting up a promotion or sticking his nose in other things that are going well, and then fucks off again. And I think it is that he's come back for a payday. You've seen him fucking everywhere. He's been on every show going. He's on GCW. He's on WWE. He's probably going to rock back up an Impact again at some point. He's on every fucking podcast going under the sun's got an interview with him. It's just, yeah,
he's
doing the rounds.
He is doing the rounds. I must admit, I used to have a lot of time for Bischoff. I loved him in the Attitude Era when he was running things. GM, sorry, when he was GM. I loved it, not Attitude Era, sorry. People are going to come for me for that. Ruthless Aggression, Reality Era, I don't know. I thought he was ace, right? As much as, like, nowadays you couldn't do some of the stuff he was doing, like the hot lesbian action and stuff like that. But I had a lot of time for him. I actually even respected his opinion, but I feel like as of late, I'm looking at him slightly differently, and I'm like, well, everything is about, like, back in my day, and he's just become like a bitter old man. Like,
it's a shame, really.
His podcast itself was called 83 Weeks. Why? Because back in my day, it's like, everything's shit, everything's awful. He's just moaning about, there's just the littlest thing going. I know we moan and go on rants all the time, and I'm currently moaning about somebody who's moaning about things, so that's a bit of a deception going on there.
Moanception.
My point being, like, he just seems a lot more bitter at the minute for some reason. Like, and I'm sure it won't be long before he's moaning about WWE again once he's had his payday. Yeah.
No, well, exactly. Similarly to you, I used to have a lot of time for Bischoff. I think some of the stuff he did, when he was running Nitro, were fantastic. Some of the stuff he did in his run in WWE is we always talk about the most convincing, face prosthetic ever and stuff like that. Like, he had an awesome time there. But yeah, that stuff with AEW where he was just completely going after them and stuff like that, and now it clearly was, after several appearances for the company as well. It was just almost like, well, okay, they didn't want you, so now he's gone crawling to WWE. It's just a bit like,
thing is,
just have your own opinions, not just like the opinions of the company that you want to align with.
That's the thing, because I'm all for him having an opinion, but he was unnecessarily harsh on AEW in a lot of senses. Like, there was some valid points he was making, but then he was going in, all in, you might say. And then it was kind of cringy as well when he made it obvious what he wanted, because he was saying about, like, he'd happily work with them and stuff like that. It's like, oh, there you go.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
That's what you're after. Okay.
Exactly.
Fair enough. Yeah, such a shame.
So, WCW reunion day for no reason basically was terrible. And then the final.
Can we do another invasion? No.
With just Bischoff and Jarrett. Amazing. And the final Oh Shites is just WWE's marketing. Are we seriously going to go with the most stupendous 2 nights in history? Is this a thing? The most stupendous? The most fucking stupidly idiotic?
Yeah.
Or like,
I think they're opening themselves up for the stupid connection, aren't they, there?
Yeah. Like, what is WWE like over the last year or so of having to have these weird, like, just words and like titles and things? But, like, remember the best wrestling match ever with Edge and all? You know what I mean? It's like,
well, come on. Even look how basic the Saudi Rumble was. The greatest Royal Rumble. Because if we throw greatest in front of it, people would tune in.
Exactly. And it's like, wow. But yeah, I believe they're now turning this not even into the most stupendous 2 nights, but the most stupendous, like, full-on week of wrestling or something, aren't they? So,
I think they need to calm the fuck down. Like, there was a point when it, like, merited being 2 nights. I think, like, now, I don't want to shit on something that's not happened yet. Yeah, I do. Right. WrestleMania. Biggest pay-per-view of the year. I worry that there's probably going to be a decent pay-per-view, like a day's worth of decent pay-per-view that they're going to spread over 2 days.
Yeah, that's all it's become, hasn't it? Like, if you think about it, WrestleMania used to be fantastic. It was like 3.5 hours at most of amazing wrestling matches that you'd built up throughout the whole of the year. Fantastic. Over time, that turned into like 4 hours, 4.5 hours, 5 hours, with a pre-show, with an hour this, with an hour that, with a follow-up. And then now it's over 2 days, and it's like, but why? Just
how far are they going to push it? I can see us being in our 50s going, it's WrestleMania week, guys. Every night this week.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly.
Or an amazing night 6 of Mania.
So yeah, most stupendous, most fucking ridiculous, more likely. But so yeah, that's WWE this week, Anthony. I'm going to give it a 1. I'm going to give it a big old 1 out of 5. Just a whole lot of nothing happening, really. Unfortunately, and considering it's like in the build up to Royal Rumble, season, expected more.
I can't argue. Yeah, I'm gonna have to call it a 1 as well. There's nothing I can do to justify this shit.
Love it. So let's move swiftly over to AEW. First highlight we can talk about this week: the return of Jon Moxley. I think you probably will have all seen the pictures floating around on social media and stuff like that. The comparison of the last time we saw him in AEW versus this time. Obviously, he looks fantastic. He looks healthy. He looks.
A lot of people saying he looks a lot like Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, almost. But yeah, I think he's looking really good. So fair play to him. I'm glad he's back and glad he seems happy and in a better place. But really good promo. Obviously,
I'll be honest. I think there should be an Oh Shites. I was a little pissed off. He come back and didn't even fucking apologise to me.
oh, savage.
I kid, of course.
Yeah, but we'll be chatting that in the Ringside Report this week. So yeah, but obviously he came back. Some absolute dickweed of a fan is giving him shit as soon as he comes back on the ring. So basically the first words out of his mouth was "go fuck yourself." So landed AEW in a bit of hot water with TBS, but that's cool. He's Jon Moxley, does what he wants. But yeah, I love the line that he kind of finished off with. He wasn't always going on about oh, drink this, drink that, whatever. He mentioned the fact demons, and he mentioned stuff around it, but then basically finish it up with says you thought he was dangerous before, now all he drinks is blood. And I was like, oh son. But the thing,
he's joining the brood.
But the thing, Anthony, that fucking made it a million times better is as he's walking out after that promo, who does he have a little stare down with? Bryan Danielson.
Nice. That would be a banger of a match.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little wee came out at that point, I think. Good moment.
Yes,
so
we.
Don't know why it wasn't yellow. But yeah, so highlight for me.
Nice. Well, next one, Carl. I'd be interested in how you feel because I know you're not a fan of last week, and you're not a massive fan of these sort of things. However, I'd agree with you. By the way, I've not been a fan of this kind of stuff. But did we open the night? We did. We kicked off the show with Britt Baker and Adam Cole going up against Chris Statlander and Butch Cassidy. And you know what? It was a really nice match to kick off the show, in all fairness. I didn't mind it at all. I think it's another mechanism to keep a feud between Cole and Cassidy, of all people, going on there. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't get oversaturated. I personally was a little bit worried last week, and this doesn't help the worry that Britt's going to get pulled into the Adam Cole show when she really doesn't need to be. She's an absolute star, and this doesn't do anything for Britt. And I get that they're partners, and it's fine acknowledging that, but I just find it interesting. She's basically dragged into his feud, but she's a fucking star in her own right. She doesn't need to be doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's
the only bit that worries me. But
that was my main concern, obviously, last week is, I hope that this is now a one and done thing. That being said, the match itself, the quality of the match, the stuff that happened in it was fantastic. So, fair play. I'm not going to eat my hat because I still don't want to see any more of it because, as you said, I can't put it any better than what you said there. Britt is her own, person. She's got her own feud. She's fantastic in her own right. She doesn't need to be dragged into her boyfriend's fucking feud.
She's one of the four fucking pillars, for God's sake.
Well, exactly. So for me, maybe it was just on their bucket list if they want to be in do a tag team match together and stuff. Which okay, fine.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right now, fuck it off. We don't need to see this anymore. Hopefully, and we get it. They're a couple, but they don't have to be on screen as a couple all the time. Just let them do their own thing. Be their own characters. But match itself was fantastic, and fair play to Britt. Another table spot for her. So
loves them tables.
Loves them tables. Next one to talk about CM Punk versus Shawn Spears. All I've got to say is very Seth Rollins laugh of me there, but right, this was fucking brilliant, wasn't it? Obviously, we had CM Punk against Wardlow last week, and Punk was obliterated everywhere, and MJF basically being a dick basically cost him the match. So MJF comes out all angry, says, "Well, now you're gonna face Shawn Spears, haha!" And Punk literally fucking demolished him within 10 seconds. Go to sleep, done. And it's just perfect because one of my Oh Shites last week was, why the hell would you give Shawn Spears a squash match? It makes zero sense. And right, and if you're going to do it, at least make it against someone who would actually make him look good. But then he gets squashed this week, and it was perfect, and I loved it.
Honestly, this kind of it gives me a little bit of faith that they know where Sean Spears is at the moment. Yeah. And I say at the moment because, I'm not saying that he'll permanently be like that, but he is not over. So there'd be no point in trying to pretend otherwise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think this is a bit of self-awareness from AEW.
Absolutely.
This didn't need to be anything more than this. Like,
if they
needed to batter him.
If they would have actually gone out there and tried to make a competitive match out of it and stuff, then it would have been like, oh god. But yeah, it was just perfectly done, so well executed. The way MJF came out, got his own entrance and everything, sat on commentary, made the whole thing, and it was just literally over in 5 seconds. And he's just like, it's just perfect. So
yeah, I gotta admit, it was very, very good, very good.
So definitely a highlight. Loved it.
Yeah. Next highlight, Carl. Okay, so I'm super intrigued by House of Black.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and always happy to see the Varsity Blondes. So we got to see Varsity Blondes versus House of Black. Obviously, this was a squash. It's not a bad thing. Get to see them on TV. That's the main thing,
Yeah.
So it goes in the highlight column for me. However, and I'm curious how you feel about Julia, because I'm surprised that they never actually turned her here, because it seems that that's what they were teasing. Obviously, we never got anything like that. But what are you thinking? What do you reckon's going on there?
Like, something has to be going on with it. Also,
it feels like there's a payoff to this.
Just a slight side note as well. She has fucking made me piss myself laughing with some of the stuff. I think she was on Sammy's vlog or something, but I saw some stuff on YouTube of someone basically said something about her eye patch and like, oh, it must be getting in the way or causing her problems. And so she recorded this little skit of her just basically fucking falling into things and walking into stuff and everything like that, and it was just so stupid and unexpected. I thought it was hilarious. But
you know what,
anyway,
I think I've seen a couple of things now, and I think it might be Sammy's vlog or various places. But I saw one where she was taking the piss out of Anna Jay's Dark Order thing.
Yeah,
and I was like, she's actually quite funny, to be fair. Like, I wish they'd show more of that on the like the main show. Do you know what I mean? Because you only get to see it in these like behind the scenes vlog type stuff. But she's definitely got the banter. Like, so I think we need to see a bit more of that on screen.
Yeah, I agree. They've got like their own little mini feud happening at the minute, Anna Jay and Julia. So it's quite funny. But yeah, no, I expected the turn to happen here. Maybe they moved away from it because it was too obvious, perhaps.
Maybe, yeah.
But, yeah, I think obviously she's got the eye patch thing. Like the last time that she basically was telling the Varsity Blondes to stop, and like he's had enough and things like that. So obviously, if you look at the tarot cards that Malachi Black, that Malachi Black.
The A word.
Don't. Everyone's gonna come after me now. But yeah, obviously, if you saw the tarot cards and stuff like that, one of them is going to be for Julia. So, but then the other one seemed to be Pac. Now, this is another interesting bit of the feud because people were then expecting Pac to join the House of Black. Almost be the House of Pac. But it seems as though from the most recent promo after this is that he wants to, go after Malachi. So I don't really know what's happening there with it either. So all in all, I think
wouldn't be upsetting at all if they had a little feud before he joins them.
Well, yeah. But yeah, I think it's definitely exciting, which is what you want. It's more exciting than he's ever done in WWE when he was Aleister Black. So yeah, absolutely. I'm Varsity Blondes are fantastic. Obviously, big fans of Griff especially. So always good to see him. Julia, interesting that she didn't turn, but you've got to think that's coming soon. And then now the extra element of Pac as well. So all exciting stuff. So yeah, indeed. And it's it was the right call as well for it to be a squash. Like I love Varsity Blondes. I think they could be future tag champs or certainly going to be breakout stars. But yeah, it was the right call.
They get a run as tag champs or in the tag scene prominently before they inevitably sort of split them up. Because sadly, I think they've got designs already on thingy, haven't they?
Yeah.
Why does his name escape me? You know the guy.
You know the guy?
Guy, the one who's not Griff.
Yeah, guy.
I can't remember his name.
Pillman Jr.
Pillman, thank you. Pillman Jr. They've got designs on Pillman Jr. already, haven't they? So I can see them trying to push him as a solo star before it gets to pay off. But maybe I'm just used to WWE not liking tag teams. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, so agreed that was a good one. The next one, Anthony, is going to be polarized as fuck, I think. And I think you probably hated it. I know a lot of people hated it. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people were just confused. I'm giving it a highlight because obviously a lot of intrigue of last week was what's happening with Cody Rhodes and his contract situation and stuff like that. And right, he's a prick, isn't he? But in a good way. Like obviously it's just a little like smarminess of him when the first thing he said was, "So what you want to talk about?" I was just like, like he's a heel. He's definitely a heel, and it's going to be amazing. And that's why it's a highlight.
This was probably the closest I've seen him. Like this feels like he's gone heel with it now. In all fairness, and I'm hoping that, because don't be wrong, I still don't think he's gone far enough that he can't, like, in a week or so save the world or something in his own head. So I'm still a little bit dubious, but this feels like a heel move, and that's all I wanted from Cody. I want him to be heel.
The thing is, though, the thing why it's so beautiful is he's still coming out and telling fans he's not going to turn heel, and the reason why he's not going to turn heel is because of all these fans and all the support, blah blah blah. But then that gets like the boo reaction. But the thing is, his promo, he came out and basically was going on about the pipe bomb and saying that was what changed wrestling, and how Punk wanted to go out and work with the Young Bucks and open the Forbidden Door and go to Ring of Honor in New Japan, and he didn't do it, but who did? Cody Rhodes. And he's like, he fucking did. So like
it's like, I loved it, to be honest, in that sense, because it's really hard to argue at that point.
So it just makes you dislike him even more, because you're like, oh, I hate you, but you're so right, which makes you hate you more. And it's like, it's the perfect build to him. Like, I can't wait for Beach Break tonight, because something like this is going to be the moment. It has to be. Title on the line. He's got to just go absolutely mental on Sammy. So yeah, I mean, I've got to say, he did climb up a ladder for no reason. So it wouldn't. He did get a ladder out, put it up, and climb the ladder and held the title up. And it's like, you can climb a ladder. We get it. Like, fucking hell, seriously.
I love it.
But I love the fact they're settling it in a ladder match, because that's what you do when you've got an interim champion, like it happened with Shawn and Razor back in the day. It's happened a few other times. When you've got two belts, the way to settle it is you stick one of them up there, and whoever reaches it and climbs it gets the belt. So old school throwback. I like it. I can't wait for the match. Sammy's gonna fucking kill himself. Cody's gonna do about 10 different turns. It's gonna be insane.
Are we getting a Punk Cody feud down the line?
Oh, if Cody has his way.
I mean, that comment there has got to be enough, hasn't it? Where you go, well, you're going to take a bit of umbrage to that, because like, it is really hard to argue with. Punk talked a big game, but ultimately he stayed where the money was.
I mean, it writes itself, really, doesn't it? He is going to be, he's already getting the comparisons now to Triple H, isn't he, Cody? And we know the kind of fallout between CM Punk and Triple H and stuff like that. So with this promo and with Cody potentially turning heel, it will write itself into something that is really good, I think. So down the line, absolutely, I can see it happening, but he just has to make that heel turn, and he has to just do a really good job with it. Don't do a heel turn and then fucking align back up with QT Marshall or something, just become like annoying as opposed to a heel. So we'll see how he does, but yeah, highlight from me this.
I like it. Next one, Carl. Next one, and this is, it's not up for debate, I'll be honest with you. Serena Deeb versus Sky Blue.
Mm-hmm.
So firstly, Sky seems to, she looks great. Seems to have a really bright future, and who better to go up against to showcase that you actually are really good, despite being fairly new, than Serena Deeb. So Deeb, obviously, absolute fucking legend.
Yeah,
best in the world, you might say.
No.
But no, absolutely loving what Deeb's been doing at the minute. Anyway, I feel bad that she got not overlooked, but like from my perspective, I didn't know what she was doing behind the scenes. So I've only recently discovered just how good she is because of AEW, if that makes sense. She put the work in behind the scenes. She was a trainer for WWE for God knows how long, and she's just talented as fuck. And I feel bad that I've sort of almost slept on that, you know what I mean? But yeah, absolutely. A really good match and really good showcase for Sky, but obviously Deeb's a legend, that's how it works.
Yeah, she's another example for me of someone who is a fantastic wrestler, but as a babyface was just very kind of underwhelming, other than her ability, there was not much else to her. But now that she's really found her feet now, being a heel. Because she's just,
play the heel really well.
Yeah, she's just fantastic at it. But Sky Blue, man, I am so surprised we haven't had a Sky Blue as All Elite because she's really good.
I have to get in there and interview her before they do.
Yeah. Oh, I've tried. I've sent a message or two. But we'll see. Yeah, I'd love to have her on the show. I think she's just got something. She's got a really good look. It's a bit unique, a bit different. She's got decent fundamentals, but she's just got like a likability factor about her. So in a women's division that's continuing to kind of grow, I think she'd stand out as something a little bit different for the division. So yeah, they should definitely try and sign her. I'm surprised they haven't. Yeah. Come on, Tony, get the graphic out there. Get your Photoshop up.
Tony,
do it.
You let enough contracts expire, Tony.
But yeah, Deeb on another level. Completely agree. I think she's killing it at the minute. Next highlight. Speaking of people who's just fucking killing it, man, Sting. He's a madman. Sting is a madman. I remember when he first joined AEW, and we were having this conversation, and we were like, someone noticed he had a record on his AEW profile page, and I think we were like, oh, do you think he's gonna get back on the ring? Probably, hopefully not. He's just gonna be a manager. I'm so glad he's been getting back in the ring and doing stuff. He's just fucking brilliant, isn't he?
The thing is, he makes me a hypocrite. I've been so against this kind of stuff.
That's it.
I'm like, the minute Sting does anything, I'm like, nah, that's totally cool. I'm totally fine with Sting doing it.
Eat all your hats, eat them all again. But no, I think a lot of criticism he's faced Sting is just like people have enjoyed him back in the ring, but of being like, oh well, Darby's carrying all the matches and he just comes in as a little cameo here and there, right? This flipped it on its head completely because Darby was taken out early on in this, so Sting carried the majority of the match, and he's just a mad bastard, like just diving off stuff and everything. Like at his age, after everything he's done, does he need to be doing
terrifying.
this?
It's fucking
he doesn't.
Terrifying.
But I'm glad he is.
Yeah. Mad respect to Sting.
And I've just, you've got to give the love to the Acclaimed as well. Another team who have completely just fast become one of my favourite tag teams of all time. They are just so good, so different, so unique. And considering the first time I saw them, I was like, oh, here we go, another little rap gimmick. I was so wrong. I've been saying for months now, they're just so good. So,
been the main hat you've had to eat, though.
It has a big Max Caster side hat. So yeah, big fan of this whole thing, to be fair. So yeah. Highlight.
Couldn't agree more. Next one, Carl, and I'm sure you'll agree with this. I'm absolutely sure. Mox versus Ethan Page. Honestly, I was surprised how competitive this match was. He just Mox didn't just run through him or anything, but do you know what? Absolutely fucking brutal elbows, brutal knees, and obviously that stare down at the end with Danielson. I know you were already over that anyway.
Well, I was going to say I must have jumped the gun. Obviously that happened on Rampage, not on Dynamite when Moxley came back. But
I knew you were excited about it.
Yeah,
totally
I was
fine.
excited. I just legit can't wait to see these. That's going to be so good, isn't it?
Yeah, but how good is it to see Mox? And I'm not I would have been totally fine with Mox easing back in, but this match really showed you he's back, he's ready. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I made up to see him back.
Yeah, me too. Long may continue as well. He's such a big star for AEW. He was one of the first big kind of guys that they got. And obviously he was the champ for a bit, and then he's just kind of meandered his way through. He's just doing his own shit. He wanted to face all these Japanese guys, and it's okay, cool, but he belongs in towards the upper card, of course. So I really want to see him get back there, and it seemed like he was going to go into something with Danielson. Then hell yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, I feel like they must have had a match in WWE, but I feel like it's something I'm missing.
Do you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking the same. They definitely will have, but it clearly just isn't jumping out at me as oh, this was a great match that they had or something. But if you think about it, that would have been Daniel Bryan and Dean Ambrose. So I know it's it's just the name, they're still the same. Nah.
But no matter what, this is going to be a bigger deal and more high profile than what they've had in the past, because I can't even remember if they have.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, interested and excited to see it take place in an AEW ring. Next one, short and sweet. Got to say it every single time. Hook is gonna fucking kill you. I love the kid. So can't wait. He still hasn't been too overexposed yet. He is. He's become less of a kind of bring him out once in a while attraction to almost on Rampage every week at this point. But I like what they're doing with it. There's a small caveat to something I don't like, but we'll cover that in a moment. But yeah, Hook, Ledge.
Yeah, definitely. I know he's kind of Marmite for some people. A lot of people are like, oh, he's not even like that big a guy and stuff like that. And you know what? Like, it's not exactly the land of the big guys. AEW, I'm willing to admit that. But I think he's got the look.
He's something different. He's something, he's a breath of fresh air from just like, there's a guy comes out called like, Jim Smith, and he's just nothing. Just looks like a wrestler.
He looks like an arrogant teen, which I think actually really works because he's like, you can see you don't expect him to be able to kick your ass, and he kicks your ass, and I think that's actually quite fun.
Yeah.
I could see that being good for a lot of storylines going forward.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's just no nonsense. He just gets in there, does his business, and fucks off again. And it's like, yeah, I like that. Why aren't more people like that?
He's a lot more like Orange Cassidy than he wants to admit, isn't he? he's fucking around.
He's better being Orange Cassidy than Orange Cassidy at this point. Orange Cassidy's meant to be dead chilled, and he kind of loses that in most of his matches now. He's fucking running around everywhere just like a lunatic. So
looks like I'm going to take him out quickly because I don't want to do more than I have to.
Exactly. Yeah. He's not getting paid by the minute. He's getting his check. He's going to get it and get out. So yeah, Hook or Ledge.
I agree. So lastly, Carl, Jade Cargill versus Anna Jay, and let's be honest, this was, I'll say one of, to be fair, but I dare say this was Jade's best match by far. There's no denying. A lot of people pointed it out. Sadly, a lot of people were pointing it out when Big Swole and the controversy around Big Swole came up, that Jade shouldn't have been the right person, etc. She definitely needed some work in the ring, but I don't think you can deny that she's getting a lot better. And this was, again, I dare say this was their best match. But they were both so good, great chemistry between the two of them, and it's just all round a really good match. And I want to give credit where credit's due, because I think Jade Cargill's definitely got something, and I feel like she's getting a bit of a bad rep at the minute because, again, sort of because people are a bit pissed off over the whole Big Swole situation.
Yeah, I think that these two were phenomenal. To be fair, when you find out this is going to be the main event, a lot of people will just be like, "Oh, that's going to be shit." Jade can't wrestle. Anna's still so green. This is going to be an awful match. They put so much good work into this. It had good build, good storytelling. I think it was probably both of their best matches combined. I think they brought a lot out of each other, and it shows to me, Anthony. And I know you were against this, so I'm going to call you on bullshit. No, I'm joking. But no, I think this is just another example of why it's so important to have a secondary women's title. No one has ever had a secondary women's title before, other than tag team belts. This is given. Women on the roster like Anna and Jade, who would nowhere near the main title.
I disagree.
To shine.
WWE have got a secondary women's title. It's called the SmackDown Women's Title. Oh, I'm kidding. Kidding. I don't even know. By the way, I'm not having a go at anyone who's got that title because I couldn't even tell you who's fucking got it at the minute.
Obviously, it's Charlotte.
Charlotte, probably. Yeah. Has she not got both? I feel like she might have both. That's still a thing.
Charlotte 2 belts now. But no, so yeah, fair play. I think that these two were really, really good. Two really strong showings from Anna Jay as well. Obviously the match with the barbed wire and stuff like that, and then obviously this one. So
of course,
goes to show she's improving as well.
Bringing it, yeah. I do need to. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to come back at you on this. Like you're having a go at me saying that there has to be a secondary women's title. I feel like I need to explain the same thing that Cody's been trying to explain to you, Carl. There are no secondary belts in AEW. Okay.
Shut your face. Shut your face. Carry on. So, in terms of Oh Shites, we've only got a couple this week. So, firstly, Inner Circle teasing a breakup again.
Either do it or fucking don't.
This feels like the least kind of dramatic version of it as well. You never see Jake Hager anymore. Sammy's there but doing his own thing. He may as well not even be a part of the Inner Circle. So it's effectively just Jericho and Santana and Ortiz. And it's like, well, okay. But it's like they're going to break up and go and join Eddie Kingston. It's like, but why?
Yeah, at this point, it kind of, they could have broke them up without saying a word. If in all honesty, at this point, this is the point when it's like, okay.
Well, that's it. like we've gone through this whole thing of like them being a brotherhood, and I've defended the Inner Circle a lot. Obviously, people have said that they've been dead on, DOA for a long time. But I don't know. I've always thought, nah, it's good. It's a good faction. Factions don't always need to be together and blah blah blah. But yeah, you're right. By this point, like these are the same brotherhood that were like willing to die for each other to, avoid having to split up at one point. And now there's
this is the thing, though. I think you make a good point that they don't always have to be with each other. Like that's more of an argument that you don't need to do an angle where you're teasing a breakup or you actually break them up, because they've kind of naturally separated, but no one's officially said anything, so there's always an opportunity in the future to bring them back together if you need it.
Yeah.
By saying it, by breaking them up, then you're causing that rift, aren't you? But right now it's a case of like, everyone drifted apart doing their own thing, but there's still a brotherhood. They can come back together. They're going to ruin that potential, really.
Yeah.
Just need to kind of let it go quiet like it is. It's
a similar thing with the Pinnacle. It's like, are they even a team anymore? Like, I know MJF, Wardlow, and Sean Spears have got a thing going on, but FTR were meant to be part of that at one point, but they're all doing their own thing.
I feel like they've been mentioned. Yeah. I think MJF still has them around, kind of. Yeah. But, like you say.
But anyway,
the factions are fizzling. What are we going to do? Now what we've got is just Adam Cole kissing everyone. Well, technically, he didn't kiss anyone.
All the anti-AEW folks will be absolutely loving that then, because that's all they go on about is just factions. So, yeah, but this gets to no shite just because it's like, do we need to have another Inner Circle, will they, won't they breakup thing? Like, okay, I think 4 or 5's too much now. So, oh shite.
Agreed. Next one, Carl, and honestly, this is largely due to one participant, and that is QT and Hook.
Yes.
And this isn't because of Hook. Like, I just can't get behind QT involved in anything. Like it's not great for Hook. This is it. Like,
he doesn't need it, does he? You know what I mean? That's the problem with it. Is Hook is great at just getting in there, doing his shit, and getting off again. It's like, why have, of all people, QT Marshall getting involved with it? Doesn't make any sense. I feel like QT. That's probably why him and Cody are so fucking close. Like, Cody loves fucking, getting his hands on like new signings and basically being their rite of passage into the company or whatever. I feel like QT likes to do this with the developmental talent. So like, if you just bring Hook up, and then all of a sudden he's, getting into a feud with him, and he's done it with a few other guys who have come up as well from developmental, like obviously starting his own little the factory or whatever. So
it's just less meaningful.
Yeah,
like, I'll give Cody his due. Like, love him or hate him, it means something more. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, no offense to QT, I know he's like, he does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but I just can't get behind his fucking apple polishing fucking face.
A fucking polishing apple with his face too. So that, Anthony, was AEW this week. I think I am going to give it a 3. I think it was a really solid week for them, all things considered. They had a lot of stuff going on. Moxley coming back, the whole House of Black thing happening, the whole developments with Punk and MJF, and then they had a load of other kind of supporting matches in there as well. The TBS getting its first title defense and stuff like that as well. So all in all, I think it was a really solid week for them. So I'm giving it a 3.
Yeah, again, hate to piggyback, but I'm probably going to land on a 3 as well. I think that's a very fair assessment.
I think we should just have we probably just don't even do separate ratings anymore. We'll just have to just agree on a rating. Just be like, this is the rating we're giving.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but I feel like at some point we're probably going to be at odds again. It's inevitable. Like, we agree on a lot of stuff right now, but I think at some point you're going to hate, like, I don't know, Roman Reigns again, and I'm going to be like, nah, it's cool, don't worry about it, and then we're going to be at odds.
Maybe. So just to finish off then, let's just take a quick look at what else happened. So obviously we had the Wrld on GCW from the iconic Hammerstein Ballroom, and we got a few different things. We had Matt Cardona beating Joey Janela. Obviously their feud was kind of started off by the fact Chelsea Green had pictures with Joey Janela, and kind of a throwback to the old Ric Flair and Savage feud from back in the day, which I thought was really good. But obviously this culminated in just an absolute fucking mental match with about 10 different run-ins, the likes of Hornswoggle, Brian Myers, and after the match X-Pac was there. Just absolutely mental. But yeah,
we'll give a little shout out to Cardona's t-shirt. which has caused a bit of a stir. Fuck Mick Foley. Obviously there to provoke the crowd, but that provoked. That's the right word. A fantastic heel work again from good old Matt.
Yeah, big fan of what Cardona's been doing, to be fair. We also got Jeff Jarrett.
Of course, he wants to get paid.
Yeah, of course. He beat Effie by obviously using the guitar to get the win. And also Moxley made an appearance defending the GCW title against Homicide, which was pretty decent match, to be fair. A big fuck Bully Ray chant broke out from the fans at the start of that match. And then lastly, we had the Briscoes, obviously, in their Tag Team Invitational for the titles. The challengers were Matt Tremont and Nick Gage, who the crowd went absolutely fucking wild for. And Gage and Tremont ended up becoming the new champs. So, I think I saw something the other day, basically someone doing a comparative of like WWE is WWE, AEW is WCW, and GCW is ECW, and it's like we've got the three big factions back again, which I thought was kind of sly on Impact and NWA, to be fair, but I get where they're going.
I get what you're saying about the NWA and Impact thing, but I think GCW is probably the closest connection to that sort of extreme element. So I get why they've gone to there for the ECW.
And I think
arguably Impact and NWA are bigger than GCW.
Yeah, and I'd probably say AEW is more WWE and WWE is more WCW at this point. But we'll see. Controversial, I'm sure. But we've done it. Another week in Wrestling in the Bank, Anthony. We are on the road to the Royal Rumble, which will then put us on the road to WrestleMania, which will then put us on the road to fuck knows where. Make sure you tune in to the Ringside Report. We've got loads of news coming at you. That we can have some very passionate discussions about. I'm sure we will. And also make sure you catch our Royal Rumble predictions. So we're going to be going through each of the matches of the Rumble, as well as the men's and women's Rumble matches themselves. And we're going to be giving our takes on who we think are going to be the winners and what that might mean. So
you goddamn right.
Tune into them, and we will see you after this lovely message from the one and only Griff Garrison.
This is Griff Garrison, and you're listening to A2theK.
A2theK.
A2theK.